Okay, for homework 821 for both classes, Math 1 and Math 1 Honors, I'd like you to find this page. I'd like you to copy the work to this first problem right on this page, and then the other three I'm going to have you do on a separate piece of paper. I'd also like you to listen and write down the 5 magic words that make sure that I know you listen to this from beginning to end. So here we go. The first word is blue. Blue. Make sure you wrote that one down. So for these, they want you to see if a variable is a solution to an equation. Or if I have a variable and I plug it in and it gives me 2 equal numbers, it proves that that variable is a true solution. Makes that equation true. So for these, you're going to plug in 3 separate numbers to these equations to see which one makes it work. Alright, first one again I'd like you to do right on your packet, but the other one's separate piece of paper. So here we go. For this one, I'm going to plug in for this x, I'm going to plug in -2 and do the math and see if I get 13. Then I'm going to plug in +2 in there for x and do the math and see if I get 13. Then I'm going to plug in +5 in there and do the math and see if I get 13. So here I go. When I plug in -2, I get 3, and where that x used to be, I plug in -2. I have that +7 equal to 13. A negative times a positive is negative. This gives me -6, +7 equal 13. Adding, subtracting, -6 and +7 gives me +1. I have 6 negatives cancel away 6 positives, gives me 1 excess positive left over. That is not a solution. When I plug in +2 for this x, I get 3 times 2 plus 7 equal to that 13. This gives me 6 plus 7 equal to 13. That is a true statement. 13 does equal 13. That x equals 2 is a solution to that equation. I'd like you to do the third one just for practice, even though we know that x equals 2 is, of these 3, the solution. So here we go. For practice, plug in the third one. So I have 3 still. And where that x used to be, I plug in +5. That's the value they want me to plug it in. That gives me 3 times 5 plus 7 equal to 13. That gives me 15 plus 7 equal to 13. That's 22 equal 13. That is false. That is a false statement. The second word I'd like you to write down is dog. Dog. For the rest of the problems, I'm going to have you do these on a separate piece of paper. This is what you're going to turn in. On this piece of paper, I want you to write in the top right corner the name, date, and period on this separate piece of paper that you're going to turn in. Again, I only want you to do one problem in the packet. Write this work right in the packet itself, but the other problems, separate piece of paper. On this separate paper you're going to turn in, that's where you're going to also write those 5 words to show that you've listened. I've given you 2 of them. So this is the page you're going to write those 5 words to. Alright, problem number 2. This one a little more difficult. I got 8 minus 2, and where that b used to be, different variable, that's okay. I'm plugging in -3 equal to -2. This gives me 8 plus 6 equal -2, and negative times a negative always positive. That is a false statement. 14 does not equal -2. Next problem. And again, hopefully you're trying these and then looking back at the video to see. That's what I kind of like you to do. Give them a try and then go back. Or you could just copy them as you go. That's fine. Whatever you want to do. But here we go. The next one. 8 minus 2. And where that b used to be, I plug in 0. equal to negative 2. This gives me 8 minus 0 equal negative 2. That gives me 8 equal to negative 2. That is a false statement. Next one, b is 5, where b is plug in 5. 8 times 2 times 5, close that parenthesis, equal to negative 2. This gives me 8 minus 10. Negative 2 times 5 is negative 10, equal to negative 2. And then 8 minus 10 does give me negative 2. I got 10 negatives, 8 positives. I find the difference, keep the sign of the bigger number. That gives me a true statement. But again, reviewing those rules, remember, you're plugging these in, you're evaluating this equation. When you multiply a negative times a negative, always positive. When you multiply a negative number times a positive, always negative. Adding, subtracting, two numbers that are the same, always combine them. If this would have been negative 8 and negative 6, I would have combined to get negative 14. If two numbers are different, positive, negative, find the difference and keep the sign of the bigger value. All right, the third word to write down is white. White. All right, third problem. Skip ahead. This one has 5 plus, again, different variable letter, doesn't matter. And I'm going to plug in negative 3 plus 8 equal to 1. I, again, would like you to try this on your own and then look back at it to see the solution if you got it. Or if you want to just copy them as you go. But here we go. 5 plus 4, and where that g used to be, I plug in negative 3. Plus 8 equals 1. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. Bring all the other numbers down. Going left to right. 5 minus 12. Positive, negative. Find the difference. Keep the sign of the bigger number. Negative 7. And then again, find the difference of these two. Positive 1. Keep the sign of the bigger number. That gives me a true statement, which shows g equals negative 3 is a solution to that equation. When I plug in the rest for practice purposes to get full credit, 5 times 4, and where g is, plug in negative 1 plus that 8 equal to 1 gives me 5 minus 4 plus 8 equals 1. Gives me 1 plus 8 equals 1. And that is a false statement because 9 is not equal to 1. The fourth word is horse. Horse. All right, now plug in 2. So 4 stays the same. Where g used to be, I plug in positive 2. I still got the 5, the plus 8, and the equal to 1. That does not change. Only the variable changes. 5 plus 8. 4 times 2 is 8. Bring down the other numbers left to right. 13 plus 8 equals 1. That gives me 21 equals 1. That is a false statement. Only negative 3 was a solution to this equation. This last one, a little bit harder because it has you plug in to two different places. I'm plugging in t is 4 right here and right here. So 6, where t used to be, I plug in 4 minus 5 plus 5 times 4 again. You can see I plugged in 4 into both places. There was a t equal to 105. That gives me 24 minus 5 plus 20 equals 105. Kind of order of operations. Before you do any adding, subtracting, make sure you multiply. And then left to right, 24 minus 5 is 19 plus 20 equals 105. And that gives me 39 equal to 105, which is a false statement. That is not a solution. Next one, 6. Plug in positive 7 for t minus 5 plus 5 and then plug in 7 again, equal to 105. That gives me 42 minus 5 plus 35. I'm going to see if this equals 105. I don't think it's gonna. 42 minus 5 gives me 37 plus that 35. And that, when I add it up, gives me 72, which is not a solution. T equals 7 is not a solution. All right, last one, when I plug in 10, 6, plug in 10 where t used to be, minus 5, plus 5, and then plug in t is 10 again, equal to 105. This gives me 60 minus 5 plus 50, which gives me 55 plus 50 equal to 105. And that is a true statement. 105 does equal the other 105. T equals 10 is a solution. The last word is green. Green. So tomorrow you're going to turn in this page with those 3 problems on it. In your packet you have that one problem done for you to look back if you want to look back at as a reference. Make sure you've listened and written down all the 5 words to prove that you've listened to this. Good luck.